Pick 1212. Copy, copy here. Got you loud and clear. Green, rolling fine.
The Performance Motorsports Network presents Burning Rubber Radio.
Burning rubber, baby.
I know what the tradition is. You don't even have to explain it. And here it is. Burning rubber, baby!
Now, from the White Lightning TV studios in Statesville, North Carolina, here is your host, Andy DeLay.
Burning rubber, baby. You're listening to the fastest 60 minutes in motorsports, Burning Rubber Radio. I'm your host, Andy DeLay, along beside Wayne Owens today.
Yes,
tonight,
sir.
whenever
Yes,
you're
sir.
listening, here on the Tan Talk Radio Network, wingding.tv. Of course, all the fine folks out in Elk Mountain, Wyoming, who I'm just loving that they're listening to our show, Wayne. That's so cool. Of course, WTHU FM and folks on Frontier Country, thank you all for listening. Radio St. Pete and just everywhere you're listening to Burning Rubber Radio. Fixing to have some fun, right, bud?
Yeah, we are, buddy. We have got something unique as far as as far as a guest goes this week. I think John said it's a jet dragster.
Yeah, jet dragster driver, and I'm not even going to try to pronounce her name because you know I always screw this stuff up, buddy.
Yeah. Trust me. We're gonna take your responsibility of foreign pronunciation off.
Thanks. Have another cigarette.
Oh man, you know what? Hey, that's how us old school radio folk do it. You know, we gotta sit here and hold our cigarette while we talk on the radio.
Oh, I guess I'm not old school enough. Anyway,
no, trust me. If you go back and look at the way studios were ran back in the day and everything like that, and I'm sure even some of our affiliates that have been around, you know, the folks that have been in radio there for, 20, 30, 40 years, they'll tell you, back in the day, you used to sit there, hold the cigarette, and be like, well, I'd be like, 1, 2, 2.
yeah. Okay, I guess I wouldn't have fit in, man. But anyway, who's our guest?
Dawn Perdue is coming on with us here, and that's a name that even you can pronounce.
Yeah, Purdue is pretty easy. And jet dragster driver's easy enough too, man.
Right. Yeah, she gets out. I think it's something where she gets out on the water and does this stuff. So like they're doing 300 plus miles an hour on something that can actually get you hurt real quick.
Oh wow, man. Gotta love that stuff. Also know we're teaming up again with Alex Pignon. Am I saying that correctly?
Pignon.
Pignon, yeah. Anyway, Alex is out of Italy. He's coming to the U.S. and going to be doing some ARCA, NASCAR racing and all that stuff. And Burning Rubber Radio is exclusively going to be following him and bringing it to you folks out there about how someone, he was a superbike champion, I guess, motorcycles out in Italy, and he's going to be coming to the U.S., so it should be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be some really good stuff to see what Alex has going on for him here. Working with Ed Cox and all the folks over at Ed's racing team, and
Joey Coulter, I hear.
Yeah, and Joey a little bit too.
Drive Refine.
Yeah, and so Joey's going to get Alex a little drive for fine, and so we'll see what happens there when he gets a hold of a crew chief and everything like that. And some sad news too. I got to bring it up here, and I'm gonna call out the person that did this. I don't know who you are. But Joey's racing Facebook page got hacked the other day. And,
oh man, come on.
Yeah, so I highly doubt they're listening to the radio show. But I'm going to say it right now: whoever you are, do yourself a favor, give it back to the guy who owns it because it's not yours.
Yeah, this is what I have to say to that person right there, buddy. If you're watching on wingding.tv, I gave him the old Kentucky howdy.
Yes, sir. Read between the lines, my friend. Oh, man. Well, with that said here, folks, we're going to step aside. We're going to take our first foreign fuel. And when we come back, we're going to be getting into some news of the week, including Chris Buescher getting number 3.
Yeah. Go, Chris! I'm Andy DeLay, and you're listening to Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network.
Want to maximize your driving potential? Drive Refine is the driver optimization program for you. Led by NASCAR winning driver Joey Coulter. No matter if you race locally, nationally, or on a simulator, with a little or a lot of experience, Drive Refine focuses on your tuning scale to optimize communication between the driver and their crew chief. Visit driverefine.com for more more information today.
Hey, this is former NASCAR driver Joey Coulter. This isn't your typical driver coaching. This is Drive Refine.
Burning Rubber Radio is social. Like the show at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Follow on Twitter at twitter.com/BRR_PMN. And on Instagram at Instagram.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv, and all over the world on all sorts of different radio affiliates. And Andy, I got to tell you, buddy, this past weekend we started the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs in very interesting fashion.
We did. First off, our buddy Chris Buescher collects his second win of the season, folks.
Third.
What am I saying? Yeah, excuse me. Third win of the season. Oh, my gosh. Smack me. Anyway, it's good stuff, man. Chris, we followed ever since way back in the ARCA days. I'm talking 10 years or more ago. It's good to see him win. And I tell you what, that flip down the backstretch was crazy Saturday night.
Yeah, it was. And because I was listening to the race while I was going down the road, and when I heard MRN go insane over the fact that Ryan Preece had crashed, and Ryan, another good friend of the show who we followed for a long time, and I think it was something where they counted like 11 flips end over end. And actually, the way it was described, and if you saw the race or if you've seen the highlight video since then, the way it was described, it looked like he literally did pirouettes in the air 11 times.
It's crazy. He got out of the car, says a lot for the Gen 7 car. It really, especially the new stuff that's happened, that they've done to the car to make it safer. But they threw him on the stretcher and made him go get checked out at the hospital. And he's fine, folks. Ryan is out of the hospital. But, Wayne, we're talking about that Gen 7 car. No one's saying anything about this, but on lap 96, Ryan Blaney turned directly into the wall in turn 4, around the same spot where Dale Sr. was killed. And it was the same type of impact. The soft wall, the helmet, the seat, the belts, and the new car saved his life because he just blew it off.
Yeah, no, exactly. You're not kidding about that either. And that's another one I remember hearing very well about. And because at that point in time, they were racing 4 wide for almost, 10 laps around Daytona. And honestly, I'm surprised that they were able to hold it 4 wide for that long around Daytona, knowing how bottlenecked it can get coming out of the tri-oval into 1 and 2. But you're right. When Blaney went sideways and made impact with that same spot in the safer barrier that Earnhardt hit the concrete on directly, had it not been for that Hans device, had it not been for those 6-point harnesses, had it not been for those brand new seats that are developed by oh God, what's his name? I'm losing track of names now.
LaJoie,
yeah. Had it not been the seats that were designed by Randy LaJoie, stuff like that, and then of course the benefits of this Gen 7 car with the updates to the impact and
the
things
new
like
front
that.
clip.
Exactly. Had it not been for that, we very well could have heard something much, much different after that crash.
Oh, my gosh. If there was no soft wall there, no Hans device, just those 2 things, even with some of the other stuff, that would have killed Blaney all day long.
It would have. It would have easily. And honestly, now, and this is the one time, I will be straight up with this. This is the one time I will give massive props to NASCAR for their safety innovations.
Very much so. They did. They took the car back to Concord, North Carolina to check it out and study it after that wreck. And they also pulled Preece's car back there, what was left of it anyway.
Yeah. And you know what? I saw, speaking of Preece's crash, too, going back to that for a second, I remember seeing something on Twitter. I was looking at it, matter of fact, yesterday afternoon, where if you think about it, because the older, like even the Gen 6 car, it didn't have that bottom skirt underneath the car. It was literally just open air down there. And with this Gen 7 car having that skirt under there, much like what IndyCar has and that carbon fiber skirting down there, it's something that allows these cars to get air a lot quicker. And so something like that, had that not been there, we very well may have not likely seen him flip like that.
I don't know. They're going to have to look at that because, we all saw it. The car got sideways at probably somewhere around 190 miles an hour.
195.
195. Yeah, it got sideways as soon as the air got under it. It was takeoff time, folks.
Mm-hmm. That it was. And so I mean it's just one of those things where you've got to caution to the wind in that case, but be very be very careful regardless of what you're doing at that point. But with that said, here let's move on to one other topic here real quick. Two things we got to touch on here, and that being the Xfinity Series, Andy, and Justin Allgaier. Literally a photo finish with Sheldon Creed this past weekend.
He won by 0.0005 seconds, which is less than half a bumper at Daytona. What a race.
Yeah, sadly, that was one that I didn't get a chance to listen to like I wanted to. So the fact that it's a photo finish, and what was it again? 0.00...
0.05.
Wow.
3 zeros and then a 5.
5/10,000ths of a second. I mean, you would have to be in super slow mo to be able to pick that one up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Because even Allgaier, he didn't know he'd won. As soon as they crossed start finish line, he goes, "Did I win? Did I win?"
Right.
He didn't know. You couldn't tell.
Right. And I think the only other finish that was ever that close was what was it? It was Kurt Busch and somebody else back in.
Oh yeah, now you're gonna tell me I'm gonna forget his name at Darlington.
Yep. And I think it was it wasn't Ricky Rudd, was it?
Not Ricky Rudd.
No.
He's from Connecticut. I can tell you that much. The driver, I can see his face.
Yeah, I have a feeling. I feel like I know who it is, and the name escapes me.
I do too.
But,
I'll tell you in a minute when it hits me.
but yeah, no, I think that was a closer finish than that one, because even Kurt's photo finish was like 0.097 when it comes to being at the line. So the fact that we had something that
Ricky
close.
Craven. See, I told you.
It was a Ricky. I was close. It was close. Oh man. But good stuff for Justin Allgaier all the way around to start off the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoffs next week, coming up at this week.
Yeah, 2 races. They got 2 more races.
Mm-hmm.
And Parker Kligerman, our buddy, just moved into the last transfer spot in that, by the way.
Which is good stuff to hear.
And Parker also announced he's coming back again next year for a full season in the Xfinity Series.
Wow. Hey,
yeah.
PK, there you go, buddy. All right, good stuff for PK. One last one we're going to touch on here real fast. And, we talked about this on the show last week about how GMS Racing, sadly, is going to be closing down operation at the end of this season. But Grant Enfinger, got to give it to him, buddy. Another friend of the show, and getting a big emotional win in Milwaukee for GMS.
That's right, man. He took that truck and ran away from everybody. But Grant Enfinger, I guess he's considered an old man in the sport now. He's been around forever, and he's getting it done this year. He's my pick to win it all in the Truck Series, by the way.
You know what? If I had to make a pick, I've seen a lot from folks this year in the Truck Series. If I had to make a pick to win the championship, if not Grant, Hocevar.
Buddy, just because we know Carson Hocevar, and he was a part. I was telling the guys on my social medias today, Carson Hocevar, they're all talking about, he's going to be in the 42 car or 43 car, whatever, this weekend at Darlington,
which we'll
for his first Cup start. Yeah, for his first Cup start. So, and I'm like, I know where he got to start. He got to start with me and Bobby Dale Earnhardt and our sim racing team, Legacy Motorsports.
Yep.
And now he was just a snotty-nosed kid running with, us, and he wanted to be part of our team. And now he's going to make his first Cup Series start. I am so proud of Carson.
Super proud of him. And you know where the tie-in comes into that, right, Andy?
Let's hear it.
So think about it for a second. In the sim world, he was racing under Bobby Dale Earnhardt's Legacy Esports,
Correct.
whereas now his start this weekend at Darlington is going to be for Legacy Motor Club.
That's what I think is so cool, man. I'm going to reach out to him and just, hey, don't forget the legacy you got your start at, buddy.
Oh, man, it's good stuff all the way around. Well, folks, we are going to step aside. We're going to take our next Ford Fuel, and when we come back, we're going to have our guest of the week, Don Perdue, on.
I'm Captain Jeff Figures from Florida Fishing and Adventures. Do you want to constantly catch more fish, spend less time changing baits? If so, Monster 3X baits, jigs, and scents are the answer. Monster 3X baits are tough, durable, and resistant, which allows you to catch more fish per bait. The combination of the Monster 3X lure with the Procure Baits Super Scent, you will be landing more fish right away. Whether it's the Monster 3X Ultra Soft or the X Swim lures, swim shad, paddle tails, crawfish, or the X Frog, Monster 3X, you'll always find it in my tackle box.
Visit our website at burningrubberradio.com for recipes from the NASCAR chef, John Dix, and more great content. Now back to more Burning Rubber Radio.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Wayne Owens, Andy DeLay sitting right here with you. In fact, Andy, you know what? We just figured out something while we were on commercial break here. And,
what did we figure out?
Not to infringe on any trademarks, but the fact that you're law enforcement and I'm an Uber driver, we're a real-to-life Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah, but you're not driving around in a badass Trans Am.
Hey, just because I ain't got a Trans Am and instead I got a RAV4 don't mean I can be badass.
At least my Cruiser has the top on it, unlike the Sheriff Buford T. Justice's. Yeah, buddy.
God knows Buford lost the top on that car so many times.
Oh, my gosh. So, anyway, let's get eastbound and down here, brother.
Yeah, buddy, eastbound and down, and let's get our guest on the horn for the week here, and that being one Don Perdue, Jet Dragster. Don, welcome to Burning Rubber Radio.
Thanks for having us, guys.
Yeah, we this is one we've been looking forward to for a little bit because, you know, Jet Dragsters, we don't hear very much about it in the world of motorsports. So for the uninitiated, what is a Jet Dragster?
So a jet dragster is actually, if you look at the top fuel guys, it's pretty much like the body of it's a top fueler, like the whole chassis part of it at the front, from like the cockpit to the front where the front tires are, and then the rear of it is actually a jet engine, which my car is actually a engine out of a Sabreliner fighter airplane, and the engine itself is called a J60 Pratt & Whitney. So it's actually a jet engine out of a fighter airplane that is hooked to the back of me, and we are pulling about 5 Gs going down the track and a negative 7 Gs when I pull the chutes. So when you go to this track, all you hear is that you feel like you're on an airplane and hearing these things wind up, but it's actually hooked to the back of us.
I was going to say, I almost feel like I'm hearing Top Gun going off at the same time. You know, you hear them going off like...
Right, exactly. Yeah, so every time I'm on an airplane, like when I go flying somewhere, like that initial when they take off, I feel like I'm in my jet dragster, but not as fast. But it's like every time I'm on there, it's like a joyride for me.
Oh yeah,
so cool.
So with that jet dragster, and you were telling us too, we were talking a little bit before we went on the air here, that the top is the highest speed you've hit on top end is something close to 300 miles an hour?
You are correct. The fastest I've been in a quarter mile is 5 seconds, 5.27 at 299 miles per hour.
Wow.
Yes.
That's right there. That's it's a little under top fuel, but that's right at alcohol.
Right.
I mean that's like 20 miles an hour off of top fuel.
But alcohol's right there, I think.
It is, these things, there's not many of us out there, but of course, we don't have no class that we could like compete against each other, but we are, when we're in the lane beside each other, we are competing between ourselves. But,
right.
these things, we are, the dragsters, that the ones I drive, we cannot go any faster than 315 and a quarter mile per NHRA. And then you guys have, if you've ever seen those, the funny cars. The funny cars are like 250, 270, and then the jet trucks, like the semi trucks with the 3 engines and stuff. They are restricted to run only like close to 200 miles per hour. So there's something that we could actually compete with, the top fuel people, but we are governed at a certain point where we can't go any faster, because these bad boys, the dragster I drive, they are only weigh between 1,100 and 1,300 pounds.
Wow,
that's with the engine on it.
Wow.
That's crazy.
So we're super light. So anything crosswinds, anything over 15 mile per hour crosswinds, these things are wild. Like, if you ever watch these things, like if we get under the going so fast with this thrust and being super light, we can take off. Like if you see these, sometimes you would see these videos where these cars, like they take a hard left or right out of nowhere, no reason at all. They just have a mind of their own, and they're pretty. Of course, people say, "Oh, these things are super dangerous," and they are. They are. Any racing is dangerous, but we are so super light out there. We don't have no transmission. We just have that. We just have the fuel that I run on the car that's on board. It's about 18 to 20 gallons. But when I burn, the tank that I have in the car, it's about 20 gallons. Right. But after I do all that fire show and the banging before I stage the car, I burn between 18 and 20 gallons per run. So when I get the top end in there, it's super light. It's about 1,200, 1,300 pounds.
Ooh-wee.
Well, one thing I have to point out, Wayne, did you catch what she says? Only 200 miles an hour?
Yeah, only 200 miles an hour.
I
mean, we got to have the safety aspect.
It is true. It's a true fact, when people say, you're never satisfied. It's almost like a drug. Like when you go 299, that's still not fast enough. So it's definitely, when I say 200, it's like, oh my gosh. I was like that, like in my mind, it's like, oh, we can go faster. We can go faster. So you're never satisfied with going 209. Once you go 300, you're going to want to go 315, so we're never satisfied.
I'll tell you one thing for sure. If I just went 175 and a quarter mile, much less 200, they better have a garden hose there at the start-finish line to clean out the cockpit of the car. I'm serious.
You mean like it's Charlotte?
Let's not bring that up. Anyway, and I didn't do that, Charlotte. Anyway, yeah.
We'll tell you that story off the air, Dawn.
Okay, yeah, I would love to hear this.
Oh, anyway, that's moving, especially considering there's no transmission in there, so you're just basically along for the ride.
Pretty much.
So to speak.
Yes, you are.
And if you look, and I'm looking at a picture of your car here, the orange one, in the 2023 jet schedule picture, and the front wheels are like a Top Fuel dragster. They're very little, those little bicycle wheel looking things. So you don't have a lot of contact patch to steer it.
No. And the thing is, when I'm driving down the track, the fuel is at my hands and not my feet. So you have to learn that in your head of driving, all your years of driving, the fuel is at my hands. I have I have front brakes and back brakes just to stage the car. So I'm holding 5,000 pounds of thrust with my feet while I'm staging the car. But then you have your fuel at your right hand, and you have your afterburner, and you have to keep your left hand on the steering wheel. And there's an afterburner button, and you hit that, and as soon as you see that first light, you hit that button and you're gone. Oh, wow. And there's three things that you have to do at the same time when you leave that line. You have to jam the fuel forward, you hit the burner, plus your feet have to go away from both brake pedals all at the same time. Oh, wow. Like it has to be on a string. So you have to do all three of those things at the same time when you leave the line.
That's crazy. Of course, Wayne and I are some NASCAR guys, so we actually know Tony Stewart pretty well, which is now he's out there Yeah, he's running with you all with his wife, Leah Pruitt. I know he's running some. You
Tough
need to
alcohol.
strap Tony in one of these things.
Right? Yeah, you should. He probably would love that. Yeah, I don't.
Oh, my gosh,
I've
yeah.
seen him out there and stuff like that at certain events and stuff. I give him big props what he's doing. You know, he's a good teams and stuff like that. But yeah, you should tell him, say, you know what? One time you should try this jet because it's something you never experienced. He's driving that top fuel and stuff like that. But like, what's his name? I forgot his name. But there was a couple of top fuel teams like have gotten one in these dragsters and stuff like that, and it's something to experience. Our cars are pretty much like a thrill ride. Like that's what I say that they are. You know, it's all thrust. It feels like somebody's pushing us from behind. There's not really any movement on the track. It's just wherever you're pointed, wherever I point myself, that's where I'm going.
Right.
You cannot move that steering wheel and to correct yourself, or you're going to be in the wall.
Right.
That's the bad thing about these things. Like they're very finicky. Where like you have to point to where you're going, and you know hopefully you're pointed straight. And if not, you're just you either have to lift and hope to and pray that you make it to the finish line. So,
Right.
but I think it would be a cool idea for him to get in one of these to try these bad boys out.
Me too. I think it would be really cool. We're going to reach out to Tony and tell him that you have an invite out to him, and
Yeah,
see
tell
what he says.
him, hey, we got the Wicked Sensation. He's more than welcome to come out and try one of these bad boys out.
And you know what, that that brings up another valid point too, as far as like trying things out. Like I had a chance to many years ago, a couple of years ago actually, go down to the NHRA 4-wides, and I can tell you from beyond a shadow of a doubt that is one of the greatest experiences that any fan can ever, and media too, that can ever experience when it comes to the NHRA. And I learned a very valuable lesson that day, Dawn, and that's called bring your earmuffs.
That's right. Oh, that's very loud.
Oh, very.
And don't breathe around the pit stalls where they're got that methane or whatever.
Oh, dude,
Right.
the smell of the nitromethane is it's an aphrodisiac.
Killer.
It's an aphrodisiac.
It's okay, folks. Didn't know that's.
It is.
Anyway.
Oh, trust me, that's talk for off the air, but we'll leave it at that. But no, the reason I say the whole bring ear protection thing. I actually had come back up from Pit Road right there at ZMAX Dragway, and had gotten up the stairs and was right at the top end of the racetrack, right as Top Fuel was, speaking of Top Fuel, ironically, was coming down for their first round pass, and idiot me forgot my ear protection. So I've got 4 screaming Top Fuel cars coming at me at 340 miles an hour, and you want to talk about death. I could not hear anything for at least 30 minutes.
Well, that proves that you are as dumb as you look, Wayne.
Yeah, that's intense. You definitely, especially, I mean, it's bad enough having 2 going down the track at a normal, regular, track, but 4 wide, when you have 4, you're definitely hurting.
Yeah, no, by the time I got back up to the media center, I'm just kind of like, can I hear you?
There's no
Can
ears.
I hear you?
All you can hear is woo, that high tone in your ears. So, a little something a little more serious. I do believe a few years ago there was a jet fuel dragster, a lady that was killed doing this. Am I correct?
Was there?
You are correct. That's actually one of my teammates. I used to race for a four girl jet team in Florida, and her name was Kat Moeller.
That's it.
And in 2018, she lost. I have actually lost I lost someone this year from a jet dragster accident, Alzi, and then Kat Moeller. Yeah, she got killed. She was in her 20s and everything like that. It was a freak accident, and it was actually really nothing really to do with the jet. Just something on the track that came back and, of course, take her life and stuff like that. But, these things, we've had someone, pass away. We got killed this year, just actually a couple months ago, one of my buddies, and he was like 60-some years old. And then last year we had that Shockwave jet truck get killed at an air show. So these things are, at one time we were banned from the jet world a long time ago and stuff like that. But these things, there's 20 plus probably more of us and there's a lot of people over in Australia and Canada and all that stuff like that. But there's, you know, you kind of look at this stuff, and when you kind of like when this happens to, you know, because these things, if they hit the wall, we just explode, and like it's just really ugly when any accident is ugly. But these things, I mean, there's nothing to them, and then we're hooked to a jet powered engine, and these just, I mean, if you watch us go down track, I mean, it's on fire coming out the back of the pipe. So like you can only imagine if we hit something, the fuel is right beside us, and we just explode. And you know, it's very most of the time it's very tragic.
And by the way, folks, if you're just joining us here on Burning Rubber Radio, we're talking with Wicked Sensation Motorsports driver Dawn Perdue, a Jet Dragster, and Dawn. So you know, a couple of final questions here, because Andy was curious about one thing here too. Wicked Sensation, how did that come to be?
Oh, you know what? So that has nothing to do with Dawn. So the owner, Scott Arriaga, he was based out of Tucson, Arizona. So this car has been on the East Coast for the past 3 years.
Oh, wow.
So I am not too sure. I've been driving this car for the past 3 years, and I know about the Wicked, but I have no idea why he came up. There was a lot of Wicked stuff going around, like of course people call people Wicked Willies and stuff like that. I don't know why he came up with that name. And you know what? You guys are actually the first ones to ever ask me why he called that name, because I really can't answer that.
Well, there was back in the day, back in the early 1990s, one of my favorite guitarists, George Lynch, he had a song called Wicked Sensation.
Yes.
I was curious if that was...
Yeah, well, you know what? Maybe that's the reason. Because actually, he told me a couple months ago, and I started playing it for my my social media on the stories and stuff.
Right.
I was like, now I play that song for a lot of the music. I love that song. That is a great song. So maybe that's the reason why. I'll have to ask him that. But he brought me on to that guy and that song and stuff like that, and I love it.
Very cool.
Very cool.
Very, very cool stuff. Well, Dawn, it has been an absolute blast getting to talk to you here on the show this week. And trust me, folks, it's been like a jet engine. We're just blasting away. No pun intended, mind you.
No problem.
Real quick, before we get out of here, we want to ask you, who makes things happen for you? Who's your sponsors?
We actually don't have no sponsors. It's out of our pocket. So it's pretty much myself and my jet owner, Scott Arriaga, and my parents, Charlie Perdue, and a few of his people from out there, Tucson, Arizona. But besides that, it's out of our pocket. No sponsors. Always looking for sponsors.
Why does that name sound familiar, Charlie Perdue? Was he a racer himself?
Yes, he was.
I thought so. Mostly dirt stuff, right?
No, actually, it was actually quarter mile racing. So maybe there's another one in the dirt racing too.
Okay.
No, Wayne's got food on his mind. He's thinking of Purdue chickens.
Is that right? Oh, probably the Purdue chicken. Yes. And actually, I wish I was related, because maybe I would get some good sponsorship with that. But
right.
As far as I know, I'm not related to the chicken man.
Oh,
People has asked me if I would, if I have a sponsor for Purdue Chicken, and then put the jet as a big chicken. I said, well, do you put some feathers on there and stuff like that, going down there, Fast Chicken or the Wicked Chicken or something.
Oh, there you go. I love it.
Oh my God, Wayne, we got to get her in on the tradition, buddy.
Yes, we do. Okay, so Dawn, do you follow the Roundy Rounds at all?
A little bit, but not too much. I have some friends that are into it and stuff like that, and not too many people. And
well, do you happen to know who Kenny Wallace is?
Yes.
Okay, so Kenny Wallace, the old Herm, started a tradition for us back in 2008. Yes, we've been around that long. We're old as
cool.
He started a tradition for us at Kentucky Speedway back then. Grabbed the mic out of Andy's hand and said, "Your show's burning rubber, baby," at the top of his lungs, like literally just screamed it out for the masses to hear. And the cool part is those 3 words right there, burning rubber, baby. The cool part to that tradition now, with every driver we've had do it, either gets an extra 2/10 on the racetrack or guaranteed race wins.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We've had an IMSA
proven.
driver. We've had an IMSA driver get 3 back-to-back wins after getting that shout.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that's awesome. Shoot,
So-
I mean that must be something. Maybe I need to start doing that. Well, I don't.
Yeah,
The thing is with me, of course, we're all for show with the Jet Dragster.
Mm-hmm.
So but that would be cool. That's cool.
Well, hey, if anything, even though it's just for show, you could probably set a record ET with that shout.
You know what? I have a race coming up in a couple weeks. Like actually next weekend I'll be at Cecil County Dragway in Maryland. I will do that and I'll make a video for it. And I can tag I think I have somebody on there, and then we'll see what happens.
All right.
Well, we want you to do it right now.
Yeah,
for
we'll get it from you over the phone
Oh my
too.
God! Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, everyone does it.
So I'm gonna hurt your ears.
Please.
Hey, go ahead. Go right ahead.
So I just say burning rubber what?
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
Yeah.
It's not that loud.
Oh, that's
It's probably-
great. That's
it needs
going to
to be
be
louder,
a new
right?
ET.
That's
record.
going to get Dawn a record ET at her next race coming up in Maryland, folks. And with that said, again, Dawn, thank you for taking a few minutes with us here today. We're going to talk to you off the air. When we come back, though, we are going to have Andy. Are you ready for it? Speaking of
Is it time
food,
to
brother, it's time to eat. The NASCAR chef John Dix coming up next.
Yeah, baby.
Want to maximize your driving potential? Drive Refine is the driver optimization program for you. Led by NASCAR winning driver Joey Coulter. No matter if you race locally, nationally, or on a simulator, with a little or a lot of experience, Drive Refine focuses on your tuning scale to optimize communication between the driver and their crew chief. Visit driverefine.com for more information today.
Hey, this is former NASCAR driver Joey Coulter. This isn't your typical driver coaching. This is Drive Refine.
This is Burning Rubber Radio. Now let's get cooking in the kitchen with the NASCAR chef, John Dix.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Wayne Owens, Handy Delay, hanging out with you on the show this weekend, brother. You know what time it is.
Time to eat, baby. I'm hungry, like always.
Yeah, well, you're always hungry. I mean, there ain't nothing wrong with that. But with that said, the NASCAR chef, John Dix, is in the house and on the horn. John, what is good, buddy?
Hey guys, burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber, baby.
All right. So, John, this week, I hear you're having fun with chickens.
Yeah, I tell you what, Wayne, like always, when there's a holiday coming on, people always have leftover food.
Mm-hmm.
So I try to give them the recipe to take up, something to do with that leftover food, like the leftover chicken they'll be cooking on the grill this weekend.
Okay.
All right.
So what kind of fun stuff with chickens you got going on this week?
Well, guys, we got an ultimate chicken casserole.
Ooh. Okay.
All right.
Very simple, very easy to make. When everybody gets off their holiday, Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, and they're tired and they got some leftover chicken, they can throw this thing together and do it right. We're going to start with 2 cups of cooked egg noodles, 2 cups of chicken. You want it obviously cooked, shredded up. Even if it's got barbecue sauce on it, it'll still be good. 2 cups of corn. You can use fresh, frozen, or canned. 1 cup of milk. 2 10-ounce cans of cream of chicken soup. 1 onion. You want to dice it up. I like the white onion, but whatever you prefer. 1 tablespoon of garlic minced. 1 cup of shredded cheddar cheese. 1 cup of French fried onions, and salt and pepper to taste. Now, guys, you want to preheat your oven to about 350. You want to coat a 9x13 baking dish with cooking spray. And in a large bowl, you want to mix all those ingredients, the noodles, the chicken, the soup, the milk, everything. Mix it all up real good. Pour it in the baking dish and bake it in the oven uncovered for about 30 minutes. It'll be done. That's it. And enjoy it. It's simple and good.
That sounds tasty. What do you think, Andy?
Sounds like a plan to me, man. You know I'm ready to eat it.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, but, I mean, you're always ready to eat. Oh, man. Well, folks, again, if you ever want to get a hold of NASCAR Chef and get a hold of that recipe, you can either find it on wingding.tv under the weekly show that is posted there, Or you can always reach out to John at Racing to the Grill. That's RACING, the number 2, thegrill at gmail.com. And you know what? We haven't talked about this in a little while, but we're going to be putting something together at the end of 2023 that is going to take all of John's recipes that we have to point, and we're going to be putting together the NASCAR Chef Cookbook.
Yeah,
That sounds like a plan, Wayne.
So we're gonna get you all hooked up on John's recipes in book format. I'm thinking digital, maybe more so than physical, but you know what? Maybe we'll get a few physical copies to folks, and maybe do it as a fun little giveaway for all of our listeners out there. So we'll figure it all out as we go along here. But John, you know we can't let you leave without those 3 famous words, brother.
Burning rubber, baby.
Burning rubber.
Burning rubber, baby.
All right. With that said here, folks, we're going to step aside. We're going to take our final foreign fuel of the show. And when we come back, we got some final news of the week and getting ready for picks coming up for the Lady in Black.
I'm Captain Jeff Figures from Florida Fishing and Adventures. Do you want to constantly catch more fish, spend less time changing baits? If so, Monster 3X baits, jigs, and scents are the answer. Monster 3X baits are tough, durable, and resistant, which allows you to catch more fish per bait. The combination of the Monster 3X lure with the ProPure Baits Super Scent, you will be landing more fish right away. Whether it's the Monster 3X Ultra Soft or the X Swim lures, swim shad, paddle tails, crawfish, or the X Frog. Monster 3X, you'll always find it in my tackle box.
Burning Rubber Radio is social. Like the show at facebook.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Follow on Twitter at twitter.com/BRR_PMN. And on Instagram at instagram.com/Burning Rubber Radio. Now back to more Burning Rubber.
And we are back on Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Wayne Owens and Andy DeLay hanging out with you this week. And Andy, it's that time to jump back into some final news of the week here before we get ready to round it out and head over to the Lady in Black at Darlington for the first race of the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. And I hate to say it, I called it. Chase did not make the playoffs this year since it was a must-win situation. Granted, all the attrition, though, in Daytona did not help him at all.
Not at all. And I've been saying it on the Burning Rubber Racing Report that Chase is going to have to win to get in, which I think if someone misses that much, 6 weeks of the season, he broke his leg, anyone that they need to win to get in. And that's just what I think.
Well, I mean, you're accurate on that statement because not only did he miss out on all the points, but even if he somehow would have made it, you look at the amount of races that he lost, he would have still had to have had his playoff waiver amongst other things. So it would have made things a little bit more interesting to see how that would have fared out. The one that I am surprised that did make it in is Bubba Wallace.
Bubba Wallace, man, he did it. He was
he might be the last one on the ticker, but he's there.
He's there, man. He fought it out and made it barely made it, but there on the last restart, he was hemmed up way back in 16th place. He couldn't move anywhere. The Fords had him all hemmed in, so he didn't know until the start-finish line if he had made it in. So good on him.
Because if I remember right, because I know Ty Gibbs got eliminated early on with the one big wreck on lap 96.
Good.
But that doesn't hurt my feelings at all. I mean, because don't get me wrong. I mean, Ty is he's got racing ingenuity in him as far as like he's kind of like how I used to say Bubba Wallace was back in the day. He could do great in Xfinity. He can do great in trucks. Cup, he's got some near top level equipment and just has not been able to perform at the top level this year.
That's right.
And I'm going to be honest when I say this, and now my opinion is slowly changing about Bubba because the fact is he's actually shown a little bit of something this year. Ty needs to do the same thing. Ty needs to be able to show me that he is going to be a racer's racer in the Cup Series before I even consider saying he's going to be worth something.
Ty Gibbs is all of his granddaddy's money.
Yep.
That's what that's it.
Yep. He's
otherwise he's just a punk.
He's all Joe's money right now at 20 years old. And so we'll see what happens in future seasons. I mean, he's still got contention for Rookie of the Year this year, so we'll see what happens and then go from there. But yeah, speaking of other things we want to get back into, we touched on it during our first round of news of the week here, Andy, and that being that our good buddy Carson Hocevar is going to be piloting the number 42 at Darlington in place of Noah Gregson, who again was released from his contract by request due to everything going on with the sensitivity training and yada yada yada. But you know, we made the comparison earlier. We're gonna have to get Bobby Dale on that and let him know. Be like, hey, remember how Carson was Legacy Esports and now he's Legacy Motor Club?
I honestly, I still think he is running with Legacy. I haven't been involved in it for probably a year and a half, but yeah, I still think he's out there running iRacing with them. Yeah,
he might very well be. If we can ever catch up with him at a racetrack, we'll have to ask him and find out. But then other things that we can touch on here, moving on, going down to the Cars Late Model Tour. And this past weekend, Andy, a big one for our buddy Carson Kvapil. He went from 18th to 1st in the last 5 laps of the race.
Carson is the real deal. That kid's so cool. I love having him on the show too, man. He's easy to talk to, and he can drive a race car.
That is so true. And actually, they were where were they this past? They were actually at Wake County this past weekend, over in Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina. And with that win, Andy, he picked up a cool $7,000.
Good for him, man. He's still running junior stuff, right?
Yep, he's still running JRM stuff. So good. Good stuff for Carson Kvapil on that one here. And moving over now on the world of the NTT IndyCar Series here, Scott Dixon gets 2 in a row this past weekend with Gateway.
Yeah, all right. Scotty Dixon, the guy's fast, always has been fast, and he makes IndyCar fun to watch, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he does. And you know, I noticed here looking at the article too, they call it Gateway instead of Worldwide Technology Raceway. So that just tells you people still know it as Gateway. Like the WWTR, you know, that's one thing, but it will always and forever be Gateway because it literally the Gateway Arch.
Right. That's exactly right. Yeah, I've always called the track Gateway too. You know, kind of like Indianapolis Raceway Park will always be IRP and not Lucas Oil, you know. It's just what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and that's like, you know, again, you know, like WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca. We've always known it just as Laguna Seca. Or what is it? Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. It's always been Road Atlanta.
Road Atlanta. That's right.
And so the fact is, you know, the old guard is still out here knowing what these tracks are called. Just because they change up sponsors or other things like that, we're not always going to change with the time and call it by this much longer name.
Well, there's some things, and now look at football. For instance, down here in the Tampa Bay area, everyone knows Raymond J. Stadium as Ray J. They don't call it Tampa Stadium anymore. So just some things that, you know.
Well, and even then, like, what is it, like Tropicana Field down there in St. Petersburg, you know, they don't really call that Tropicana Field. I forget what they call it, but.
The Trop.
Yeah, exactly, the Trop, yeah. So, you know, folks who live in these areas, or even folks who have been around long enough, we know it by different names, and just because you're new or young or whatever the case might be, don't think we're going to change just for you.
Yeah, really, man.
And so
that's right. Old guys rule. Yeah.
And that sounded like a horrible belch, actually.
Yeah, it did. That stunk too.
Another thing here with the IndyCar Series here, it is confirmed, Andy, based on the injuries sustained and his concussion and whatnot, Simon Pagenaud is not going to be returning for the remainder of 2023, and Bloomquist is going to be in for Meyershank Racing for the rest of the IndyCar season.
Man, I didn't know he took that hard a hit. I knew he took a hit, but man, I'm glad these teams, not only in the IRL, but in NASCAR and everywhere else, are taking these concussions so serious, because they are so serious.
They really are. They really are. There's no doubt about it, hands down. Also, one other thing we're going to talk about here, too, speaking of concussions and Folks, have, by now, with us airing on Saturday over on Tan Talk, or later on in the week with all of our affiliate radio stations. Again, we tape our show on Mondays, but this was actually brought to light yesterday, Sunday, on Kurt Busch's Twitter page, and it was I'm not gonna lie, it was a very emotional video. But Kurt has confirmed, even off, really off candor, really, working with his doctors, that there are going to be too many challenges to get him back to a full 100%. And with that, as of August, what is today, the 28th? So as of August 27th, Kurt Busch is now 100% retired from motorsports.
From the Cup Series. That's what he said.
Well, from the Cup Series. But even then, his doctors have already said it's going to be too big of a road to hoe to get him back to 100%.
You watch. Mark my words. You'll see Kurt Busch back in some type of race car somewhere someday.
Well, I would certainly hope so. I mean, even if it's just late models in the Cars Tour, I would love to see Kurt racing somewhere again. But one thing we do know is that he has been working with Kyle's son Brexton and giving him a lot of pointers too. So even if not on the racetrack, or even if not in a race car, he's still out there, teaching Brexton the way of motorsports, which is really cool.
Talking to Brexton, did you see that video out with Kyle talking about the future for Brexton and him?
I haven't yet, but I need to. What's going on with that one?
Well, he said it. He said whenever Brexton reaches 15 years old, he's going to put him in a truck and, not in all of a part-time in the truck.
Right.
But he wants to retire when he's 15 and run a full season in the trucks so that he can claim a Cup Series, Xfinity Series, and Truck Series championship.
Okay, I have seen that video. Yeah, that was a couple of months ago, actually.
Okay, I just saw it recently. But that made me happy because I'm like, yes, I want Rowdy to run the trucks full time, and because if he does, he'll win that championship. I'm telling you,
he'll smoke them easily. And plus it'd be fun to see him have a triple crown of championships when it comes.
And just fun to see him in the truck every weekend spanking people.
And actually, what's funny? Speaking of spanking people, with the win that Chris Buescher got this past weekend at Daytona, he now has the triple crown of wins. He has won on a short track, a road course, and a super speedway all in 1 year.
That's awesome. Good job, Chris. We love you, man. Good job.
Yep, so some good stuff there. And one last thing we're going to touch on here real quickly before we get over to picks for the Lady in Black Darlington, and that being the ARCA East Series this past weekend here, running over at the Milwaukee Mile, and William Sawalich, another guy that we know very well, dominates at Milwaukee and extends his ARCA East points lead, Andy.
Yeah, he did a butt kicking over there too, man. There was nobody near him when he come across the start-finish line. So good job, William.
Yep, good job all the way around there for William Sawalich in the ARCA East Series. But with that said here, folks, we have got ourselves over to picks now for the week. And Andy, my pick, I forgot to update it, so we'll just ignore what pick's on screen. I'm going to go with a different pick.
Oh, man, that's a cop-out.
Yes, I know. It's a cop-out. But, hey, you got pick number one, my friend.
Chase Elliott, man. He's coming back to show him how it's done.
Well, yeah, we'll have to wait and see if he can pull it off at the Lady in Black this weekend here. I am actually going to go with John's pick. Now, again, folks, when you're watching the episode on wingding.tv, you're going to look at the graphic and you're like, hey, wait a minute, he picked somebody else. No, that's not fair. But my pick for the week is actually going to be John's pick, which was Kevin Harvick in Forever. So ignore the fact that you're seeing Alex Bowman on your screen right there.
I hope Alex wins this thing so I can throw this up in your face next week.
Hey, if he wins, I would gladly take it, having it thrown back in my face. I will eat crow for changing my pick last minute. I will gladly eat crow. Taylor Burris got a pick in this week, and I was giggling all last week when I heard Denny Hamlin not doing good at all. So not winning the regular season championship, which, by the way, congrats to MTJ.
Yes.
Martin Truex Jr., regular season champion in 2023. He went from not making the playoffs at the same time last year to now being 2023 regular season champion. I'm going to call it now. I got a good feeling he is going to take the overall championship at the end of the playoffs.
He's going to be tough to beat, man.
So, but Taylor is going to go with Denny Hamlin this week. Zachary Murtis got a pick in. He is going to say that Buescher's going to go for number 4 this weekend at Darlington.
I wouldn't put it past him.
I would not put it past him either, because that'll give him.
I hope so.
That'll give him wins on all 4 types of racing surfaces, including the intermediates, if he wins this weekend
that's right.
at Darlington. Coming up here, NASCAR chef John Dix, your pick is up, sir.
Well, we talked about it before already, Wayne, and I'm going for Mr. Happy Harvick.
Yes, sir. Happy Harvick, number 4, forever.
Yeah, that's just because he likes your cooking, John.
Be quiet, Andy.
Oh, be careful, because John. Well, no, I won't say what I'm thinking. And then Bobby Dale Earnhardt actually got a pick in this week too. He's going to go with Buck K and Brad Keselowski for this weekend at the Lady in Black at Darlington. And man, Andy, can you believe an hour's already gone by?
This is the fastest 60 minutes in motorsports.
I know, right? It's fastest 60 minutes in motorsports here on all sorts of different platforms, folks. We're on radio, we're on digital, we're on television. Wherever you are, it's still the fastest 60 minutes in motorsports. But with that said here, we have got to get ourselves out of here for another week of Burning Rubber Radio on the Performance Motorsports Network, Tan Talk Radio Network, Wingding.tv. Thanks to our guest this week, Dawn Perdue from the NHRA Jet Dragster Series. And for the NASCAR chef, John Dix, Bobby Dale Earnhardt, Taylor Burr, Zachary Murtis, Andy DeLay, I am producer Wayne. And until next week, guys, we love you. Burning Rubber, baby!
Burning Rubber, baby.
Burning Rubber Radio is a production of the Performance Motorsports Network in association with the White Lightning TV studios in Statesville, North Carolina. This week's episode was produced by Wayne Owens. Remember to visit burningrubberradio.com for news, recipes, and more great content. Burning Rubber Radio may also be downloaded from our podcast site, pmn2.com, or from Spotify, iTunes, or Google Podcasts. The opinions expressed on this show are those of the hosts and guests and do not reflect those of the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group. Any use of the accounts or descriptions contained in this broadcast must be with the express written permission of the Performance Motorsports Network or the Scorpion Radio Group.